to another episode of Well That's Horrific, a podcast about anything and everything horror. I'm Tom Cruise,
And I am Mr. S.
and we got another episode for you guys today. What are we talking about, Mr. S?
I should have added a sound effect there.
Damn,
Knock at the cabin.
So,
Finally.
Fun fact. I was reading up a little bit on something related to this movie, and I saw what they call this movie in Spanish. And somebody who's a native Spanish speaker, I found it very strange. It's called "Llaman a la puerta," which, if you
Okay.
actually translate, is "called at the door," which I guess works. But it's not the same as "knock at the cabin."
That's true. It's not the same, but it's still a little creepy. I like the title of this movie. I like it.
I do. Keep in mind. Okay, so we ready to dive into it?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
All right, spoiler alert again, just for everybody who hasn't seen this movie. We're gonna start talking about it. We're not immediately gonna go into everything, but we are gonna get into spoiler territory. So I just want to give a
Absolutely.
heads up.
It's still in theaters. This movie is still
Yep.
in theaters.
Still in
So
theaters, not even
definitely a
available
spoiler
for
warning.
streaming or anything else. Yeah.
Yep.
So knock at the cabin. Who is this directed by? The famous.
This is directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes,
Not really
we
good
know
at
him from
pronunciation.
all the other movies that have a surprising twist. I'm a big fan of a lot of his movies: Signs, Split, Unbreakable. All those movies. He recently came out with, what was it, Old, that came out not too long ago.
Yes,
Glass,
old.
Glass. A lot of movies. We all know him for his crazy twist at the end of the movies.
Right.
But this particular movie is a little bit different because it's actually an adaptation of a book. So it's an adaptation of a book that actually has a different title. So let me actually pull that up right here. It's Cabin at the End of the World.
Oh, interesting. A lot more. What you call
The
it?
Cabin at the End of the World. Novel by Paul G. Tremblay. I'm probably butchering that, but it is based on that. I'm gonna towards the end. I'll dive a little bit into some of the differences that I looked up. I have not read the book, but I know there was a huge discussion as to some of the differences between the movie and the book. Maybe it is one of those books that we'll eventually read. Keep it on our radar. But for now, plot synopsis for this movie. While vacationing, a girl and her parents are taken hostage by armed strangers who demand the family make a choice to avert the apocalypse.
Yes. I think I saw this trailer. I think around Halloween Ends, if I'm not mistaken, or is it Megan? I'm not quite sure. I think it must have been Halloween. Halloween Ends.
Remember, we saw Smile after that too.
Smile after that too. I've seen it
Several times.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel like I've seen it twice, and I remember watching it for the first time, and I remember saying to myself, "Oh wow, like this sounds like a movie that has potential, but it doesn't really look like it's gonna get anywhere." I said this, and I'm a man. I admit, things that I say, whether it turns out to be true or not, and I was like, I wasn't so thrilled for it. I wasn't going to have it at the top of my list to go watch it. So that's I'm going to leave that impression there for now. Hold on to that because it's going to come back and bite me in the butt. But yeah, so it was out in theaters. Well, when was the release date for this? I think it's like 2 weeks now. If I'm not, no, February 3rd. It came out February 3rd.
It's been
less than 2 weeks. So it's less than 2 weeks.
Yeah,
February 3rd is when it came out.
Now, if you're watching this episode, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, and this movie stars Dave Bautista. I am used to be a lot more, but I'm a big WWE fan, so I know Bautista through wrestling. I also know him in everything action, like any action movie, anything.
He's in, obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel, obviously. He's a couple of movies there. He's been in that. What's that movie that came out during COVID that I really enjoyed, where he has to go get money from a vault during like the zombie,
Yes.
I forgot what it's
Army of the Dead or something.
Army of the Dead. Yeah, that's what it was. And I think he did a great job in that. Batista's a great actor, I think, honestly.
He's actually, he's one of the better actors when it comes to like wrestler turned actor.
Exactly. And check it out. So here's the thing. When I saw him in these movies, I was like, okay, he's good because he's in action. Like in this movie, it's not action. There's no action packed, what you call it, scenes here, and he plays a very different character than one might think. And I really do think he bodied that role. I'll be honest
No, he
with you.
did. He does a great job playing Rupert, or no, sorry, Leonard.
Yeah, Leonard,
Leonard.
the
Playing
second
Leonard
grade
in this.
teacher.
Yeah. Very different character for him to play, and I think this is definitely an interesting role for him, and he did very well. One of the things I don't want to again, I don't want to quote him, or I guess I'll paraphrase him here a little bit. He mentions in one of the interviews that I've seen with him is he gets typecasted a lot. Obviously, being this big muscular guy,
Of course.
it's kind of hard to let's do a romantic comedy with this guy, or let's make a drama or whatever it may be. So this is a little bit interesting. Of course, it is a thriller / horror. But he's playing a very human, emotional, empathetic, regular guy almost, right? It's a regular guy. He's a teacher. He cares for his kids. A very different role than I would say anything else you've seen Dave Bautista in, for sure.
100%, 100%.
This also stars Jonathan Groff, which I know him from the Netflix. I forgot the name of the show. Come on, it's tip of my tongue. Mindhunter. Have you ever seen Mindhunter?
No, I have not.
So if you haven't seen Mindhunter, I actually do recommend you watch that. And for those who are listening or watching this, it's a show about how the FBI started investigating serial killers. So literally how they put together the memo of interviewing serial killers and things like that. And there's a lot of famous serial killers that they interview. One of them being Edmund Kemper, the Coed killer. And they do a very good job. I know him from that, but he's also in a lot of other things. I know I believe he's in Broadway, or he's in a lot of musicals. We also have Rupert Grint, which we haven't seen in a lot. We know him obviously from Harry Potter.
Yeah, absolutely. Big Harry Potter fan. Rupert Grint. This Ben Aldridge, who plays Andrew, I couldn't put a project with his face because I knew he looked familiar. I didn't know where I saw him from. I knew he looked familiar. But I still don't know where he's from. Like I see his resume here and whatnot. There's something about him that looks very familiar, and maybe
he looks a little
it'll pop
bit like
up.
Lucifer. He looks a little bit.
Maybe he
like
looks like who?
plays Lucifer. The actor that plays.
Oh,
Lucifer.
probably.
Yeah, but I've never seen.
He definitely looks familiar. But the movie, Knock at the Cabin. So like here's my initial thought, and this is me just kind of going from beginning to end. I think it has a strong beginning. I think the trailer itself, the way it was kind of, put together, like kind of, you assume that they're driving to the cabin and then you get introduced to the family and then something happens, right? That is not the case here at all. Like you see, Wen, I think is her name.
Yes.
Wen. You see Wen out there catching grasshoppers. Obviously, looks like a project or whatever she's doing, like taking notes in her book. And then Batista's character Leonard comes out and introduces himself, and they become like friends and whatnot. And it gets right into it, By the way, I did love the opening, what you call it, Universal's, logo. It was very, very vintage, and I feel like I haven't seen that in a while. I was like, that won me over with some points.
That logo, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
I only see that logo every now and again when I pop in Scarface. I haven't seen
exactly,
that logo in a while.
exactly.
But just to touch on your point, I think you're 100% right. I actually think the movie did two things very well. Actually, I thought the trailers did a good job at kind of showing you everything, because the first trailer doesn't really show much. It just showed that they were going to the cabin. It was kind of the whole stranger showing up at a cabin sort of vibe. The second trailer was the one that kind of revealed that they're there for the end of the world. And at first, my initial reaction was like, "Damn, is this too much to show in a trailer? Like, is that like the big reveal? Like, I don't know." But then I'm watching the movie, like you mentioned, and I'm like, "Wait, he's here already." They Batista's already talking to Gwen. Leonard's talking to Gwen, and I'm like, "Wow, okay, this is interesting. This is a different take." And then I knew that
you were thrown off a little bit.
Flashback. Yeah.
I
know that it had to be a flashback because we knew there were scenes on the trailer. but yeah, I think they actually did a good job with the intro here because it definitely just like dives you straight into it, and it makes it
Mhm.
that much more interesting, and it definitely hooks you in. It does a good job of just like getting you hooked.
Without question. So they get into it, and it's like at the same time it's like slow, like not, it's fast but slow, like but in a steady rhythm, because obviously they're introducing when and who, like where she is and who she's with, and she mentions like Daddy Eric and Daddy Andrew, and like that introduces her parents, who are both, you know, men. And it's interesting to me, and I've said this before because I saw this with my wife and we were talking about it. I think this movie took a interesting, what you call it, a simple idea. I think it's a simple idea. I know like the whole outcome is a little bit, you know, like huge of magnitude, but I think the idea is very simple, and they do it in such a way that you kind of feel for both sides, right? Let's be honest. Like some four people come knocking at your door with all these tools saying, "Oh, we don't want to hurt you. We just want to talk." Who's going to believe that?
Yes,
Nobody.
100%.
Nobody.
Nobody's
You're
gonna
not going to
believe
believe
that.
that. I'm not going to believe
And
that.
it's
It's like insane.
quote unquote tools, but these are weapons. It's like one of
These
them
are
has a
weapons.
pickaxe. Like, come on,
Yeah.
quote unquote
And
tools. Yeah, sure.
I and I think Eric and Andrew handled it well. You know, they were talking to Batista behind the door. They're like, "Listen, like we don't want to talk. Please just leave us alone. Like we're away." And like they, knowing what we know, obviously spoilers ahead, knowing that what they've been saying the whole time about the apocalypse is true and their visions, you know, they really need to force their way inside to try to get them to understand what's going on. So it's like, again, you kind of feel for both sides, and it makes you, it puts you in the hot seat, and you got to figure out, like, would you do the same thing? Would you believe them? Would you, like, you know,
Yeah,
sacrifice yourself? And
it's interesting because yes, I mean I'll touch on this in relation to the book, but I guess it's different when you're the audience and you know the end result, right? Like you know that. Let's say, I guess you don't, right? Because you're well, as you're watching it, you're led to believe that I guess the world is ending, but even sorry, let me look up his name. Andrew does a great job of kind of even convincing you as a watcher that what they're saying is rigged. It's not really like they're looking at their clock, they're looking at their watches, they know when everything is playing. So like you don't know if the world is actually ending or if they're just saying the world is actually ending. So that puts you in kind of the same position.
100%. And I think Andrew, I think I was leaning with Andrew, I think, towards the majority of the movie. I haven't read the novel, so I'm not sure at the time, like, if what they were saying was the truth, or obviously if they're like just some, you know, messed up people.
I
But
guess
I was,
I guess for me, I feel like I was just easily. Maybe I'm gullible, but I just, or I guess maybe just knowing M Night, I'm like, yeah, the world is definitely ending. Like this is real. Like
yeah.
for some reason, my instinct was to believe them, and I'm thinking, okay, they're of course going to be skeptical. So I'm thinking, if I was in their shoes, I would just do it because I'm assuming that they're telling the truth. But at the same time, what if they weren't telling the truth? What if it
But
was
see,
all a
I
lie?
think, but that's the thing about this movie. That's the thing about this movie that I think is so great, is that it puts you again on the hot seat, or in this case, Eric and Andrew's seat, you know, being tied up and whatnot, because you really have to understand the scenario that you're in, right? You got to understand the sacrifice. You got to understand the apocalypse. You got to understand that these group of people came to you explaining their visions. And let's be real. Like, let's be real. I don't think anyone would believe four random people who don't know each other, apparently met
100%.
online, and then they're coming to tell you, oh, you got to
100%.
sacrifice somebody for the end of the world. Nobody would believe that, right?
Yeah,
And
100%.
you know, when we watch, as horror fans, when we watch these movies, obviously, when I watch the movie, knowing that I'm watching a movie, I'm probably, like, you know, thinking, yo, they're not lying, they're telling the truth, right? But if you put yourself in a real life scenario, you're thinking what Andrew's thinking, like, yo, these people are fucking insane. Like, well, what's going on?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I think for me, I think what's good about the way they used, how, what's good about the story and how they used it, is the fact that they sacrificed each other one by one. I think that was an interesting twist. Once what you call it, Rupert's character, what was his name again? Redmond. He's like, I want you to watch me, like, while this is happening. He puts the bag over his head, and like they obviously kill him. Like, so he sacrifices himself, I guess, to buy more time for the decision that they're gonna make. And you start to believe that's a little bit more real, that these people are not lying, because they didn't kill anybody and then they sacrificed themselves. They actually ended up killing themselves, which is fine. But you would still think like, yo, what's wrong with these people? Like they are willing to just straight up die like that. That's insane. So it's definitely a interesting new idea. And you know me, I love new ideas in horror films, and this is a great new idea, and I think that's why you get hooked on it so easily. So
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. As an M Night movie, though, I was a little surprised that, like, I mean, not to jump to the end, but there wasn't much of a twist to this one, right? Every other movie has a more significant, like, blow your mind sort of twist.
right,
Every other M Night movie that I've seen, this one was
right.
more so like, what was the reveal? The reveal was that the world was actually ending, and I guess maybe as maybe myself, I just believed them, so it wasn't that big of a reveal for me.
I think you're one of the few that believe them. For me, I had to find out more as it went on, and I think that's there's no twist. You're right. I agree with you. There's no twist, but there is that suspense. Like, are they telling the truth? Are they not? And also, what decision are they going to make? I think that's what kind of kept the movie going, as well as the flashbacks. I think the flashbacks were put in such great moments, right? I think it worked really well because every time a flashback came, it tied to what was happening in the moment, whether it's the bar scene or whether it's adopting Wen, or whether it's like the parents not accepting them and stuff like that. So I think it shows their love and like what they had to go through, I guess. And also, again, I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping here, but also I think it also ties to why they were chosen to make the decision, which I don't think I liked the reasoning behind it. I'll be honest with you. I don't know why they were specifically chosen, and I don't like the answer to that.
Give a good reason outside of like, what's the reason really? It's
Leonard says it. Leonard actually says it. He says,
so pure.
exactly, your love is so pure, and like what you guys been through, and like I'm just like, bro, I'm sure there's people who have been through worse shit. Like, come on, like they're the ones that are gonna make the decision for the end of the world. So
it's a random select. I would rather it be just random entirely. But with that being said, yeah, I think it was interesting. I think this movie did a great job of just kind of scaring you with real life things too as well. Like the plagues were scary as well. Like first it was the hurricane, the tsunami,
dude,
the tsunami. I was like, in real life, if you see the tsunami, you're already dead. Like
I'm telling you,
the moment you see it, if you're close enough to see it, you're dead.
You're dead. And like I think that's one thing they did an amazing job with is making you feel scared. I feel like when I saw that tsunami, like watching on the big screen, it's like, yo, I actually put myself in that scenario. It's like I was terrified, and then the planes too, like coming down. It's like, dude, that's actually really scary. I don't think people understand how scary that can be.
No, that's super scary. And at that point, I was like, "There's no way you could be skeptical at this point." Like, if you're talking about every plane just starts falling out of the sky, not one or two, every plane starts falling out of the sky. Then, like, come on, like you can't not believe it at this point. And then the second one was a virus, and I was like, okay, maybe you could be skeptical still because it wasn't like they didn't show much. It was just like there's a new virus. And then towards the end, I did see. Did you notice that scene that he mentions that he saw like something in the back in like the reflection, the sun? There was something.
Yes, I knew there was significance for with that scene. I just thought it was in the moment. Like when he brought it back up, I was like, yeah, I know what you're talking about, But I kind of get the feel. I got to feel that Eric was leaning, towards the four of them and what they were saying. I thought he believed them for quite some time. I think he was just trying to tell himself it's not true.
Yeah.
For him, so for the sake of Andrew.
Yeah, he was letting Andrew convince him, but I think it was a very unique thing to do to give him a head injury. So it's also like now you're like playing with us and you're playing with him, where like maybe he would have believed it, right? But now because he has a head injury, he doesn't know if it's him believing it or the fact that he has a head injury. So it's like
that's very true.
Now he's kind of eliminating his perspective because he has a head injury. He just wants to believe what Andrew is saying. So I thought that's true. A very interesting aspect to add to everything. And then when, of course, trying to escape and being so innocent and
she's so adorable. She's so adorable.
And then catching the grasshoppers early on.
Yeah, absolutely adorable. And no, I like I said, like I mentioned earlier, when I saw the trailer, I didn't think much of it. I wasn't as thrilled to go see it. But after seeing it with my wife, I think I was hooked from the very beginning. And I was questioning a lot of things. Like I was questioning them, I was questioning myself, I was questioning my wife. You know, like all these
You
things.
know,
Like what we go ahead.
one thing that I agree with Andrew on, like super. I was like, I did not believe that the second stranger, I believe Adrienne was her name, had a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like because it came up
Yeah.
so last minute. It came up
Mm-hmm.
right as she was about to kill herself. And she was like, I have a kid. I don't want to say his name. And I was like, yeah, you sound mad sus. Like you sound like you lying
OD.
right now. OD.
Well, yeah, OD, and everything that they were saying from the get-go sounds sus. Again, if you
I
if
know, but even that particular part, it sounded super
no,
sus. It
absolutely,
sounded
because
like
it's like, why are you
somebody.
mentioning this to me now? Like, it
Yeah,
sounds like it's more of a plea deal. Like, yo,
we're,
please
we're,
don't kill me. Like,
yeah. Where have we seen this before? We've seen this before. There was another movie, another TV show where somebody tried to stay alive and say like, "Oh no, I have a kid." What is this?
Saw.
Is it? Yes, Saw. That's what it is.
Saw the machine where she's like, I'm pregnant, and then he's like,
That's what it
fuck, he's not
sounds
gonna
like.
kill a pregnant woman. Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're just
And
lying because you want to survive. And
100%,
then
which is
the
again,
twist at the end that she did actually have a kid.
and I think that is what this movie did so well. It's like they gave you so much detail, little details too. Like in the like when they introduce themselves, all the four of them, and like what they do, and also the flashbacks, and then they give you all this information, and then they say, okay, you decide as a what you call as a consumer, you decide if they're telling the truth or not, right? And obviously you said, oh, she was sus, and again, I thought the same thing too. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Blah blah. And then at the end, spoiler alert, Andrew ends up, what you call Eric ends up sacrificing himself to save like the world, and then Andrew finds the truck that they were all in, and then finds out that everything that they've been saying that they were told had come out to be true, and which is like you have that oh shit moment, right? So I think that is a great touch to the movie, and I haven't seen this. Correct me if I'm wrong. Have you seen a horror movie like this? This is a horror movie. I would call it a horror movie. Have you seen a horror movie like this that has this interesting take? I don't think so. I'm sure there's like Saw has like decisions to make. That's a little bit different, but this is like more of
No, but
having to
I guess
sacrifice one of the family. Like it's crazy.
no, but I guess it's not similar, but it has similar aspects. Cabin in the Woods with the idea of like they were put in the house as a sacrifice to prevent the end of the world. It was still the same
Yeah,
idea, no?
yeah,
Because
it is,
cabin,
but like they didn't know what
it's
was
like
happening, right?
yeah, they
Until
didn't
like
know.
yeah,
They didn't know. They were being sacrificed without them
then
knowing.
yeah,
But it was
exactly,
still for the same outcome. It was still for the end of the world, right?
right,
Um, it's similar, not exactly the same, but similar.
right,
Um,
absolutely.
do we want to dive into some of the differences between the book and the movie?
You got to tell me that because I have not read the book. So
Yeah,
tell me.
I haven't read the book. But I saw it online. I saw a lot of people were a little bit sensitive to the differences between the movie and the book. So I just wanted to see, what were the differences. Again, I haven't actually read the book, so I'm just going based on an article here, a Collider article, and it's a couple different things. So first one is Gwen actually dies in the book. So
What?
she gets killed by accident, I believe. So I believe one of the parents accidentally shoots Gwen, but then her sacrifice doesn't count because it was by accident. It
No.
wasn't intentional.
That is actually
It's wild.
horrible.
Yeah, yeah. So
That is
that's one thing.
terrible. Wow, that's insane. See, I love that. No, I don't love that she died. No, I love books like I love things like that just are so unpredictable, like unpredictable, and now it makes even matters worse. Like that's insane.
Yeah.
Great. Who's the author of this book? Do you know? I'm gonna look it up.
Yes. I said his name earlier. Give me 1 second. I'll pull it up again. So, the name of the book is "The Cabin at the End of the Woods," at the end of the world. Sorry, "Cabin at the End of the World" by Paul G. Tremblay.
Tremblay. Yo, that's insane.
Yeah.
Published
So,
2018. This is a fairly new book, fairly recent
yep.
book. Wow, that's
So
amazing. Wow.
another change is that Leonard doesn't kill himself. He actually gets killed by one of the other by one of the parents. So
Okay.
he's still a character, but they I guess they take Gwen and one of the strangers helps them, and then they end up killing Leonard. Also in the book, Eric is the one that makes the sacrifice, not Andrew. Actually, no,
I
sorry.
mean,
I actually completely. I'm reading this wrong. In the movie, Eric is the one that makes the sacrifice. In the book,
Correct.
nobody makes the sacrifice. So this is actually the biggest change here. And I'll get into this, but I wanted to leave it for last. So I guess I'll get into now. So basically, in the book, you're up to the actually again two different things, not to kind of confuse everyone. But in the movie, obviously there's a religious aspect of it, and they're kind of treated as the four horsemen. I believe who is it? Eric makes he says this at the end of the movie when he's talking to Andrew. You remember that scene?
Right. Yes, I do.
So in the book, that's not a thing. So there's no quote unquote like religious aspect of it. He doesn't have that conversation. So they're really left to believe that these are just four strangers. And after Wen dies, they take her body and basically they just go away. Like they go away with one of the strangers allows them to escape or basically helps them escape. And it's really up to the reader to interpret whether the strangers were actually telling the truth or lying.
Oh my God.
You never
I have a
actually
love
find
hate
out.
relationship with those.
Yeah,
I
you
have a
never
love hate
actually
relationship.
find out if the world is ending.
Dang, that's crazy. I do prefer the movies version though. I mean, just based off what I'm seeing. I love reading books.
Yeah, I like the idea of one dying. Like,
Yes, I do.
obviously
I mean,
not
only because
not
it's only because it's
dying.
unpredictable, unprecedented,
Yeah,
right?
so
I think
super
that's why.
unpredictable. However, I do like that I guess the movie has a more definitive ending.
Yeah,
Right?
I think it would kill people, like a Shutter Island or like a Little Things type movie. I don't like that. I mean, I like using your mind, but I don't like not knowing, not having an answer. That kills me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
interesting.
the movie kind of like not only reinforces the idea that they were telling the truth, but like it puts it in your face, right? They go to that diner and they see all the people there watching the news.
Yeah.
Like there's like an extra step where they like give you that confirmation.
Sick.
But yeah,
That's sick, actually.
Those are the differences. I'm sure there are other minor differences, but those are the bigger differences between the book.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if you've read the book and you've seen the movie, please feel free to comment on what you think some differences are, similarities, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. We'll share it here.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to see that.
Even reading the book, shit, I still read it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, especially if the book is different, you know, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Final rating?
How are you rating this?
I'm rating this an 8.5. I thought it was great.
8.5?
I loved it.
Yeah, I would say 8. I would say 8. I liked it a lot. I did, and I think for me, two things stood out the most is the fact that I didn't think this movie was gonna be like this, and I got hooked. I got hooked until the end. I really did. And second is this new twist, this new idea used in a movie and executed so perfectly. It's just amazing. And Batista really did a great job of just being like the whole leader of the group and being super calm, super like sensitive to.
Great.
Amazing. Absolutely. Everybody was just amazing. Highly recommend. Yeah.
Yeah.
I give it an 8.
I give it an 8.5. Makes me want to like even consider going back and watching some of the M. Night movies that I haven't seen. I never saw Old. I don't know if you did. Guys, let us know if you recommend us give that a watch, and maybe we review that one. That's another M. Night. I believe it's another thriller, so we can definitely review that one. And that's, that came out, what, last year? 2 years ago? Old now?
I want to say 2 years ago?
Yeah, but
almost 2 years ago?
I remember seeing the trailer.
I seen a trailer. That kid from Hereditary is there.
They're turning old? Or they're turning, the kids are turning old?
They're in an island, and like time is moving super fast, and they're turning old, like OD. Yeah. And like the lady's like pregnant, and like the baby's like growing fat. Like it's insane. Like it's an insane concept. I gotta watch it, but still insane. Moving on. That's based off of a novel too, though. Yep. Moving on. What do we have? What do we have? Some news, right? We have some news here. What kind of news do we have here, Tommy?
I mean, we're less than a month away from like what do we call this? This is the 6th installment of Scream.
Yep.
Like this is a pretty big deal.
Less than a month away. I have already gotten my tickets. I know you're not going to be here.
I'm going to be here. I'm probably going to watch it a little bit later, but I am going to watch it for sure. I'm still very excited. I have to mute everything on Twitter.
Already muted.
I have to avoid all spoilers at all costs. I'm not gonna talk
Yes.
to Mr. Us here for like a week.
No, I would
Like I
never
don't think a
spoil
one
it. I
word.
think
I don't want to hear
anyone who
one word.
spoils anything is absolutely
I
scum.
don't
I
want
don't
you to
care. I'm gonna
blink
go out
in
and
my
say it.
direction, bro.
No, no.
Like, what
So
does that mean? Does that mean Stu's in it? Are you blinking too much? What does
I'm
that
not. I would not say a thing to you. Don't even worry about that.
Oh,
So today we got some new posters, new character posters. Right? We've had them last year with everybody wearing the mask. This year it looks like it's everybody with a knife, which is great. I'm not watching any TV spots. I think I saw something that came up. Was it during the Super Bowl last night? I didn't want to watch
actually,
that or anything.
I was watching the Super Bowl, but I didn't see any Scream stuff. Maybe I wasn't paying attention during that time.
Yeah, I mean, it was a whole party, so like you probably had your eyes
Yeah,
away.
exactly.
So the posters are people already talking about it, like trying to speculate. I think Gail's poster was the only one with the knife facing downward or something like that. Like, oh, what does that mean?
I
That doesn't
saw-
mean shit. I'm telling you right now, it doesn't mean
Yeah,
anything. So
it doesn't mean shit. But I did see another poster, or maybe it was something else that they officially released that had every character's name. And it was like there was like a red flag. But again, there have been a lot of these red herrings where and again, this just backs up my theory, because this is one of my theories, and I just want to say it one last time. I could be totally wrong, because everybody's saying that this is the first person to die in the movie. But there was a list, there was an official poster or picture or something that had all the characters.
I saw that.
And the only character that did not have a last name was Samara Weaving's character. And I was like, what does that mean? Speculation.
Yeah, she could probably die. I could see her dying first in the movie. That's the thing. That's the whole reason why I've muted everything.
I know, but that's not my theory. My theory is that she's involved. She's involved.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you did think that she was
theory is
involved.
She is Ghostface.
Nah, if anything, that supports the theory that she probably dies first. I mean, that's just me being honest. I muted everything.
The Scream Queen. I just wanted. I would kill to get a Samara Weaving Ghostface reveal.
She's great. I don't want. I don't know how to explain it, man. Like, I don't want TV. My brother said to me something the other day, and he goes, "You know what people are saying on Twitter?" I'm like, "No, I have things muted." And he said, "There's a ladder scene, which we saw in the trailer. Remember that?
Yeah.
Apparently, Ghostface there is actually without a mask. He's actually unmasked, but in the trailer they did CGI, and I don't think that's true, but that's what people are saying. And that's the thing. I don't want to hear. I have no idea. And if anything, that's probably supporting a what you call it, a cult type fucking thing where someone's chasing them already. I don't know. My thing is, I don't know. I only know what I saw from the trailer, and I'm really, really happy about that. I don't want to see any extra scenes. I don't want to see any extra, clips, TV spots, nothing. And
I haven't seen any clips or TV spots. I've only seen the posters. That's something.
Yeah, Tommy. I'll be honest with you. I'm very excited to see this movie. I'm more excited to see this than I think Scream 5. I'm being quite honest with you. I think Scream 5 was what you call it. Scream 5 was really great. I was waiting for it. It was after Scream 4. It's been 11 years, so I was happy to see Scream 5. But here's probably a hot take. I think Scream 6 is going to be way better than Scream 5. And I like Scream 5 for what the honor to Wes Craven and the type of movie it was. Besides the stupid motive, obviously, but I really do think Scream 6 has the potential to be one of the best Scream movies. I'm being honest. So I hope they don't let me down.
I'm more skeptical. I have a fear with the whole change of the formula thing. I feel like this is the first movie to
the whole different.
Not have that sort of satire, right? Every other movie had satire. I feel like this one is not. This is straight up a horror movie.
Check it out.
There's no satire. There's not gonna be any funny things in this movie. I think this is gonna be pure action or.
We have a lot of emphasis on the word different, and we have a lot of emphasis on the mask. We have a lot of emphasis on the characters. New York City, get all that stuff. I'm for it. I do love Scream in this franchise. I just hope they don't mess it up, because you can't have all this emphasis and not deliver anything. So let's see what happens. And March 9th. So we're less than a month away. Hopefully great. Hopefully great things.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm still super excited. Again, like you mentioned, less than a month away. Tickets already up, guys. If you haven't bought your tickets,
Yeah.
I know you were a little upset you couldn't get Dolby. Or Dolby is Dolby available now?
Yeah, man. I what was that about? Like, when I spoke to the manager, I actually went to AMC. I spoke to the manager, and he's like, I don't know. He goes, he goes, you know what? He goes, it's very likely the fact that Ant-Man's coming out, but he goes, it's also very likely that they do release Dolby listings, showtimes like a week or two before the movies. And I've seen that done before. I just don't like that because they didn't used to do that. So I don't know why they're doing that. But I can always transfer my ticket, so I'm gonna wait to see that because I definitely want to see it in the best possible way. So that should be good.
I'm gonna be in Greece till like a few days after this comes out, and I'm gonna make it a thing. Like I'm watching this the very next day. Like
absolutely,
the moment I
absolutely.
come back, forget about resting. I know there's gonna be like a time difference and everything. I'm just gonna go straight to the movie theater. I'll be like, whatever days I got here, I'm just like, I'm watching this. I'm gonna wear noise canceling headphones. Like to walk into the theater. I don't want to hear. I don't want to even speak to anybody before I watch this movie. Like, I'm not even gonna tell you to watch it. I'm gonna tell you once I've already seen it.
I think that's the best way to approach it. No spoilers, the better. It's how it should be. I do have a question for you. I knock at the cab. I know we moved on from it. This is something I wanted to ask you. What if you were in that position? So like, it was up to me and you to save the world. Like, what would happen there? Like, would you like sacrifice yourself? Like, what's going on here?
I think they said that you can't sacrifice yourself. That wasn't an option. You can't kill.
No, you can choose yourself, but I would have to kill you. That's the whole rule.
Oh,
like,
got you.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't mind.
I'm saying? I would choose myself, but I don't think you would be able to live without me. So,
it's tough.
I think I would just make the decision and shoot you. Right? Like.
What the fuck? That is not what I was expecting. What the hell was that about?
Let's be honest here, right?
Talk about a twist.
What's the best way to go out? Right? It's probably a gun because.
Oh my god!
That would have hurt. And if I didn't tell you and I just shot you, you didn't see it coming. As far as like our relationship, you died. You don't know who killed you. You don't know it was me. So you still love me, right? Your last thought is like, oh, he's the love of my life. Little do you know, it was me that shot you in the back of the head. You know what I mean? I think it's a win-win.
Fuck. I mean, you have a point there. You have a point there. I guess it's all about who can kill who first without them knowing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, if like 4 people broke into our house, I'd be like, yo, Tommy, go get him. Shoot you back.
No, but truthfully, we probably would kill the 4 guys and then just the world would end. We wouldn't even know.
Of course, absolutely. I don't give a shit. Let the world end. What the hell? What is the world doing for me? Nothing.
No, what do they do? We wouldn't have believed them, and we wouldn't have stayed so long as to know that it would be real. So like,
right.
A day had to pass, or 2 days had to pass, or however long had to pass for every news clip or the news to update and everything happened. But if like truthfully, 4 people broke into a cabin and I killed them all immediately. That's it, right? I made the decision. I basically I ended the world without knowing.
Right. Yeah. That's
Sorry.
that. I don't have anything else to add. Do you have anything else to add?
Quickly thinking.
Children of the Corn.
Sorry.
Children of the Corn. I saw something. Children of the Corn. They're doing
a film.
Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be surrounding one girl, and then she gets the other children to, she forms a group of other children and they start killing their parents. So, I think I saw something like that. I wanted to look more into it. I'll let you guys know. I saw that, but yeah.
No, I mean the only thing I was gonna mention is the Dead Space remake is out. I know everybody's been loving that.
Ooh.
Resident Evil 4 remake is coming out soon. I know that everybody loves the original Resident Evil 4, so that's gonna be very exciting.
Nice.
That's pretty much it. Besides that, again, stay tuned. Let us know what you want us to cover on the next episode.
Absolutely. Let us know. I'm going to be posting. We're going to be posting a Q&A story soon. So any questions, answers, anything you need, we'll try to answer them for you in the next episode. We'll let you know what our next episode is going to be about. Keep you on the loop there. Follow us here on Twitter at That's Horrific, Instagram, and TikTok at Well That's Horrific.
Don't forget also we are live on Twitch.
Yes, we are live on Twitch every time, and we will always post it on our social media when we're going live. So just in case you don't miss it, that's okay. If you don't have to miss it, listen to the podcast episode the following day and on YouTube the following week. So, I mean, later in the week. Because if you don't,
That's horrific.
have a good one, everyone. Peace.